Welcome to the Can I Pick Your Brain podcast, where successful entrepreneurs get their brains picked so you can apply mindset tricks and game-changing tactics that will help you become unstoppable. Now, here's your host, Daniel Geffen.
Hey, fellow brain pickers, and welcome to episode 50 of Can I Pick Your Brain? Today, I have the honor and pleasure of picking the musical brain of Grammy-Award nominated reggae artist Matisyahu. Now, I don't think he needs any introduction, but I will say this. My wife is in love with his music and is more excited about me doing this interview with him than when I proposed to her 10 years ago. Matisyahu, welcome to the show, and thanks for letting me pick your brain.
Sure.
Now, actually, Matisyahu, I had some work done on my teeth today, and I don't like the sound of the drilling, so I plugged in my headphones and I blasted your music. So thanks for helping me get through my dental treatment today.
Nice. Did they give you the gas?
No, they gave me the freaking injection. I hate the injection. It stings.
Oh, would have been good with the gas and the music together. That would have been a nice time.
Yeah, that would have been a very nice time. By the way, where did your singing career begin?
We're right now speaking from the town where my career started. I started in a town called Bend, Oregon, where I was 17, and I went on a wilderness treatment program and then spent a year in this town living I was in a program, like a sober living program. And this is where I started making music. There was a coffee shop. I started doing an open mic night here. And basically, I had a daughter 2.5 years ago with a woman that lives here, and so I'm actually in the town where it all started.
So you've done
for me right now
you've become
on
full
this
circle.
Podcast, live and direct from Bend, Oregon.
Cool.
Yeah.
You've come full circle, basically.
Cycles and circles.
Cycles and circles. You had a major transformational change where you shaved your beard and your sidelocks, which created basically a ripple effect, including major confusion amongst your fans, a divorce, and a completely different brand image. Were you prepared for what was coming when you made that decision?
Well, I wouldn't say that was the cause of the divorce, but no, I was not actually. I just my whole life I've sort of done what I feel like is important to me. I remember when I was in college, the day I decided to wear a yarmulke to school, and I tried not to think too much about what other people would think about it. I'm sure people have all kinds of thoughts, what I remember, coming to high school the first day, wearing whatever I was wearing. People, judge you obviously by your appearance. Right. But for me, my appearance has always reflected what's going on inside of me. And I'm a person who's throughout my whole life continued to evolve and change and to wear it, on the outside. So, when I made that decision to change, it was sort of a revelation for me, and I did it, and I, didn't even think about really what fans or people would think about, because I've always really lived my life from the inside out, and then dealt with it, the repercussions of that on the backside. When I first started doing music as a Hasidic, young man in Brooklyn, I didn't think about really, what people would think about it. Other than that, I knew it would generate attention, that people would be sort of taken by surprise. But I didn't really think too much about what other people think, because you can't really live your life that way when you're an artist or a creative person doing things that are different than the norm. Yeah. So basically, I made that decision. I came to that realization inside. It was a long period that I was struggling with it, and finally, it hit me one day as I was walking down the street that I can do whatever I want. See, when I first grew my beard, that was really an act of self-expression for me. It was I was coming into this real journey in Judaism, and I was interested in it, and I was exploring it, and I was studying Kabbalah and Hasidus, and that was what was inspiring me inside. And therefore I decided I want to express that in my fashion sense
Hmm.
or in the way that I look on the outside. So I started growing a beard and I started wearing a yarmulke, and I felt a strong identification with it. And then at a certain point, I remember like I got and I was trying out for different like things, music, acting, different things, and I got a commercial callback for a beer commercial, and they asked me to shave the beard, and I had already had my beard then, and I was already starting to become religious,
Hmm.
like maybe 6 months, and I went to two rabbis that I was close with, and one of them was an Orthodox rabbi from more of like a Litvish background, and he was like, no problem, you can shave your beard. And then I went to another rabbi that I was close with who was Chabad, and he was like, don't shave your beard, all your brachas come in the beard, and you know what the Kabbalah says about the beard, and don't let anyone tell you how you should look, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, I decided not to shave the beard. From that point on, the beard became no longer sort of like an act of self-expression,
Hmm.
but it became like an act of self-nullification,
Right.
where it was about following the rules and not really necessarily expressing how I want to look, but more about this is what I have to do.
Mm.
And basically, for years I had it and I had mixed feelings about it. Obviously, there were times when I loved it and I felt really in tune and connected with that image. And then there were times when I felt it was bothersome, or I didn't like the way it looked, or I missed seeing my own face. And this was obviously like before it became cool for everyone to have a beard.
Hmm.
There were like no one had a beard then.
Right.
And basically, I struggled with it, and I was like, well, I could never shave it, like, because of the religion. Like, I just couldn't do that. And then I eventually, like, one day was walking down the street, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's my life. Like, there are no rules. I can live my life how I want to live it, and I can choose the rules for myself. And I, like, literally walked in, shaved the beard, didn't think about any of like what fans would say or people would say. It was like a real internal thing for me. And then I realized I had a show coming up like a week later,
Oh
and I
boy.
was at my voice teacher's house on the Upper West Side. I was staying with him because I was dealing with some vocal issues. I was in a very sensitive space. I was eating like macrobiotics, and I
Right.
was I was on a vocal fast. I wasn't speaking, and I was like went to shul for the first time without a beard. And I was like,
Synagogue.
well, what are people yeah, synagogue. I was like, what are people going to think like when I show up for the show? Like, they're going to think it's not me.
Right.
And I was looking through Twitter, and somebody posted, like, sometimes fans, they'll quote like lyrics of mine. And someone posted like a quote from a song that I have called Thunder
Hmm.
that says, when the time comes, I'll lose my disguise.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Because a lot of times when I write like it's free association. And I don't always know like what it is that I mean when I write it. It's like it comes from a certain like subconscious place. And I think like when I wrote that lyric, that's what I was referring to. Like, there will be a time when I'll be ready to let go of this image and sort of start over, start fresh, start clean. And so when I read that, I was like, wow, like the universe is talking to me, and my fans are tapped into what's going on with me, even without me telling them, certain people. So I like took that quote and I took a picture of myself and I posted it. And that was like when that day it was like the #1 Google trend.
Right.
And it's just funny,
Did you
like
did
that
you
a beard
expect
could be.
did you expect the reaction you got? You got very negative reaction.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect, again, I didn't expect anything. I didn't think about it. Mm. What it did was sort of like, it started this process for me where I realized I have to like I have to make a strong differentiation between who are my fans for real and who aren't, like who are just like, because there's some element of me that was like pop culture. So it was like not really fans, not people that listen to the words or the message or the
Right.
music,
Hmm.
but people that just make assumptions and projections onto you based on you being some kind of image or thing in
Right.
culture.
Right.
But then there was like the fans that really get it. Like, they've been following the music and the lyrics, and therefore following my struggles and my whole inner world, because that's what I put into the music. So
Right.
for those fans who might be Jewish, might not be Jewish, might be religious, might not, people from all walks of life and faith who have dealt with all kinds of things, they like had no issue with it at all. They were like, that's just do you. And then there were like the people that were really just concerned with either my image and thought it was cool and how could he let go of this image, or people that felt that I was representing them.
Yeah.
And again, those were not people that were connected to my music. So basically I had to say goodbye to people, and say like, okay, this is what it is, and you either like listen to the music or you don't, but I'm not here to represent a group of people,
right.
Right. Based on the way I look.
You know what I love about your music, Matisyahu, is that it's filled with deep meaning, unlike much of the other music coming out nowadays. Where's your inspiration for your songs come from, and also has it changed over the past years?
My inspiration comes from a lot of places, mainly like just life. Like I said, like free association. Like I just write about my experiences and like the life lessons or the things that I've learned, and whether that come up through relationships, being a father, being, in relationships with people, through, I've had inspiration through the Torah, again, through the Hasidus and the Kabbalah and all the different philosophy and psychology books that I've read or that I've taken into my own life, through therapy, through just my life experience,
But now that you've got like different beliefs, do you still resonate with this? When you listen back to your old songs, when you were a Hasidic Jew, what do you think? Do you resonate? Do you still believe in that?
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't consider myself as not being Hasidic now. Like, to me, that just became a word, and it became like, to me, like the meaning of what a Hasid is runs much deeper than like what color your socks are or what rules you listen to. I mean, it's a type of, to me, it's a type of person. And it's not necessarily even a Jewish person. Like I basically expanded my definition of what a chassid is based on what I learned when I was living that life and when I was there and when I was studying that. And I haven't necessarily stopped studying Hasidus or Kabbalah or putting it into play in my life. I just have a different understanding of what it means to me today.
Right.
So when I listen back to those songs, I don't like, there's nothing in any of the lyrics that I've ever written that I disagree with.
Okay, so let's get into that. I mean? So King Without a Crown was your biggest hit. What did you mean by a king without a crown back then? And I'm assuming that obviously now you still believe in that. What does King Without a Crown mean to you?
I don't know. I didn't know what it meant then, and I don't know what it means now. But I continue to I continue to read what fans' interpretations of it are, and it
you must have
resonates.
felt something when you sang that song. You're not just singing stuff.
There's a very deep connection to those words. Like, I know they came from someplace, and I know that they represent something very real, but there's no specific meaning to it. Like a king without a crown is a Jew without the Torah. You know what I mean? Or, it is a person who, whatever it is. I mean, basically, I don't know what the lyrics mean. I can tell you what the lyrics and the rest of the song mean because they're very straightforward.
You said you want Mashiach now in that song as well, right? That's another thing that you mentioned.
Like the word, you're all that I have, you're all that I need. Each and every day I pray to get to know you, please. All those words are very literal. The whole song is very literal.
So
but the
Messiah,
metaphor of a king without a crown, what's that?
Do you still, when you say, I want Mashiach now, which is the Messiah, does that still hold true? Is that still something that you believe in, the Messiah coming?
Yeah, as a concept, not as a literal thing. And whether or not it's literal, that I don't really care about. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But as a concept, yes, it's a concept that I connect with. And same thing with One Day. One Day is also a messianic song, it's very, very much tied into the idea of Mashiach. But what that means to me now has a different maybe meaning than the literal meaning of when I was in Chabad singing Yechi,
Right. By the way, my wife's favorite line is, "Your cup's already full, then it's bound to overflow." What does that mean?
That means exactly what it says. Like if you already know, then you've got nowhere to go. If you already have the answers, if you're already full, if you don't leave space, then you're stuck.
So if you think you know it all, basically you can't take anything more in.
You can't continue to grow.
Got it. Got it. And also, in your song, which you mentioned just now, One Day, you said, sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. And that's very powerful for me to hear right now, because thinking about your story, you must have got a lot of pushback and hate from the decisions you made in your life. How do you stay so positive?
Well, I'm not always so positive, you know. I mean, I have a positive outlook and I have emunah, like I have faith. I believe in God and I believe in in myself and in destiny and my connection with people, with music, with God, that I'm doing a positive thing, that I'm doing a good thing. You have to like believe in yourself. And and I believe I really do believe that there's like, you know, I have tried to put goodness into the world. That's the way I'm built. But I'm not always so positive. I mean, I definitely have a temper issue. I have issues with all kinds of things, you know, dealing with backlash and fans. And, you know, I'm not like a go-lucky, like happy person necessarily. I mean, I deal with like a lot of the ups and downs of a person that struggles in life. And that's why I've been able to write music that helps people that also go through real life emotion.
So how do you deal with it? I mean, compared to how you dealt with it back then and now, how has it changed the way you deal with negative feelings?
Well, I'm trying to be a little more mature and to watch myself a little bit, in terms of like getting upset at people. You know, I've been able to like focus and surround myself with people that I really care about, that care about me. You know, I do things, you know, breathing, meditation, you know, but mainly I just try to stay focused and stay on my grind and do, you know, put my energy into my kids, my relationships, the people that I care about, that give to me, that I give back to, my work, my career, my music, you know, and not get too caught up in the rest.
Yeah.
Of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines is actually from your song Sunshine. Reach for the sky, keep your eye on the prize. I mean, what is your prize?
I just mean like just stay focused.
But what I'm saying, you've got a prize, right? That was the whole message in your song, right? Was stay focused, keep your eye on the prize. What is your prize? I'm saying, what do you live for?
There's no literal prize. It's just like, you know, the main thing is what's important in your life. And again, what's important in my life are my kids and my music mainly, you know, and my relationships and people in my band, the people that I care about, that take care of me and that I take care of. And, you know, being focused on making real music, authentic music that really, you know, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy. There's a lot of, like my rabbi in yeshiva used to say, the many winds are blowing, you know, there's a lot of different ideas and vibes and energies. And when you put yourself out there into the world, you know, you're a sensitive person, you know, there's all kinds of things flying. And the main thing for me is to sort of stay true to myself and true to the music that I make.
I hope you really don't mind this question, but in your song called Jerusalem, you have a line that goes, "Why is everybody chasing weed? Don't you see that's not the way to be?" Right? Have you changed your opinion on that?
No, I mean, the Jews, we're being chased. There's no question, you know, for thousands of years.
No, but you said weed. I'm saying chasing weed, as in marijuana.
No, chasing weed.
Oh, God, I thought it was chasing weed.
No.
Okay, I guess I misheard that one.
No problem.
It's okay. You've had some big inspirational people in your life, including Bob Marley, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rebbe Nachman of Breslov. If you could bring one of them back to life, who would it be and why?
I don't really think that way. I've never thought about that. I would never do. I don't know. People ask me that kind of question all the time. I don't really have an answer. Because people are dead, they're dead. Like, there's no point in like thinking about who would I bring back and why would I bring them back. That's just like, it's just outside of the category of the way I think.
Okay, fine. By the way, do you play music for yourself or do you play it for your fans?
Both, but you know, mainly, you know, there's a connection between the two. You know, there's both. You know, I started making music and continue to make music for myself in the sense that it is therapy for me, and it is like the thing that I do. It's like the way that I'm able to make sense of my world and express myself and be creative. So if I didn't have like one fan in the world, I would still make music. Now there's like definitely another, once music became my career, there's a lot of other reasons why I make music. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there are mouths to feed. This became my career. So it became also a business and it became a job. At the same time, I've also had like this, success in the sense that people have been able to connect to my music. And I mean, obviously, it's amazing to be able to write songs from your heart about your struggle and have people connect with them and have those songs help people in their lives. So my music is a combination of both of those things.
And for those listening that are trying to get out there and build a following for themselves, whether as an artist or a businessman, what would you advise? What would your advice be to them?
My advice is not to think about that. My advice is to go inwards, to go inside, and to focus on whatever it is that you do and doing it in the most authentic and in the best way that you can do it. And I truly believe that when you actually do have something to offer the world, the universe or God makes it happen. And there's like plenty of imposters out there that are so focused on the opposite in the world, in making ripples, but actually don't have anything to offer the world. And I would say that there are people that are good at that are great at marketing and promoting, but that don't necessarily have a product. And I believe I'm still very spiritual in the sense that I believe when you truly do have something to offer that will help people, like that, God makes that happen.
Cool. But here are a few questions, by the way, from some of my fans. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you think it would be like to be famous before you became famous? And is it anything like you imagined it would be?
That's a great question. I think I felt that like it would be like a dream come true, that like all of a sudden all my problems would be solved. It would be like, feel like waking up in the morning would feel different. Like it would like feel like being high or something. Like
Right.
you would just feel amazing all the time, knowing that, you're successful or you're famous. And the truth is that it's nothing like that. There are moments where you connect with it and internalize the way that your music has had an impact, or there are moments when it feels good when someone comes over to you and recognizes you or appreciates you. But what I've sort of figured out in life is that nothing changes the way you feel, with the acceptance of maybe like substances. But when it comes down to life, there's really no escape from it. And, fame can just be another drug. But for me, it wasn't. I mean, for me, I just get so caught up in, or just the way I feel is the way I feel. And unless I make a conscious decision to sit and meditate on it and think about it, then maybe I can feel good for a minute from it. But it didn't change anything, in terms of the way I feel when I wake up in the morning.
So when you're about to get on stage and you've got all these fans waiting and screaming your name, like how do you feel? What goes through your mind? How do you psych yourself up?
I don't think about them at all. I'm like, I try not to think. I don't even try not to. It just doesn't happen. Like, I mean, I guess there's some times when, I will be like backstage or know that there's people out there and that will affect me. But for the most part, I'm just too much of a person that's stuck in myself. Like, I feel the way I feel, and there's very little that takes me out of that outside of prayer, meditation. I'm sober now, so drugs aren't an option. But outside of actually changing my chemical makeup, I'm pretty much stuck in the emotions that I'm in. And there's very little, that affects me.
Would you say that's a good thing?
Sense.
Or,
I mean,
would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a bad thing. I mean, in some ways, I guess in some ways, maybe I am much more affected than I'm aware of. There are little things that happen in the course of your day, that change the way you feel. Little things like, for me, it's like hanging out with my kids or something that will happen, just like a smile or a look or an environment that you're in. Those things change the way you feel. But in terms of like feeling big emotions, major things, which are sort of what I was chasing for a long time, I kind of gave up on that to a certain extent. And I think it's good in a sense. I think I was built that way for a reason. And basically what happens is I go out on stage and I don't think about fans. I don't think about people.
You
What I
don't even look.
focus on
Do you
is the
even look
music.
at them? Because one of the things
What
that someone said is you don't
what I
engage with the fans.
a lot of times I close my eyes.
Right.
Until there's a long answer here. So basically until I'm ready. So I don't come out right away and start looking at people and connecting with people because I'm not ready for them yet. I'm not ready to be what they want me to be yet. That has to happen organically. So what happens for me, the process is I come out on stage, I have no set list. I basically walk out onto stage, and like the moment I hit the stage, I tell the band what song
You're
I
kidding
want to
me.
play.
You don't have
And
no. They don't even know what you're gonna.
no,
Wow.
no, and we start playing music basically. And as we start playing music, I go through a process which I like to call sort of like a breakthrough, where basically I sink into the music. I listen to the band, to the members of the band, that we've created a certain sound and a certain language between ourselves. And then I fall back on the lyrics, and I basically do like a mashup of my songs. So like one song blends into another song, the songs change. It's a lot of improvisation, and I then start saying the lyrics, and as I'm saying the lyrics over this music, I start tapping into what those lyrics mean and what they mean to me today in this moment.
Wow.
And then basically, God willing, what normally happens, because I've been doing this for a while and I've worked really hard at it, is that there's a breakthrough. And at some point, the music and my own emotional state of being opens up, and it sort of cracks open.
Wow.
And at that point, I gain confidence in myself, and I sort of tap into my light, the light that I have.
It's incredible.
And once that happens, I open up my eyes, and I connect with the audience, and I see who's out there.
Wow.
And then it becomes a back and forth exchange between me and the audience.
Wow.
And sort of, redeems. I go through this process, and there are a lot of people that don't understand that at all.
I get it. I get 100%.
They're the people that just say like, oh, he doesn't connect with his audience, because like maybe they're stuck on that. They don't have any idea or sense of what I'm doing.
Wow.
And then there are the people that like totally get it and are with me. They're like, okay, let's take the journey together, because you know what? They also feel shitty when they came to the show. They didn't get drunk, and they're not just there to like party and like be like, woo, yeah,
Yeah.
They're people that are real people with real issues of depression, of anxiety, of real things going on in their lives. And I'm taking them to a real place,
Wow.
inside myself and inside them. And in that sense, it's like for me, it's a real spiritual thing,
Do you feel that? Do you
and the
feel
people that
though?
are like patient and they're willing to come on that journey with me, they come. And so I've had to make like a sacrifice, basically. There was a point where I had to say, okay, there are people that are not going to get it. There are people that are going to talk smack and say all kinds of stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I have to be authentic. I have to do what's real to me. And hopefully there'll be enough people that will still connect with it and still buy tickets to shows. And if not, then so be it.
Wow. I really, really, really relate to what you're saying, because on my show, I don't go in with a necessarily like a list of questions or like a direction. I go in and I feel the person I'm interviewing. If he's going in a certain way, I'll join him on that journey. I'll go with him on that journey. And I love it because
then that's a method of living life.
Right.
That goes into your work, that goes into the way you interview and the way I make music, because that's the way we live life. That's why I don't write a set list, because when you're stuck to a list,
you're limited.
Then you miss out on what's real, on what's
Right.
really happening around you,
Wow. What has been your biggest mistake and your biggest regret, and what would you do differently now? I guess I'm going to guess.
I don't know if I can point to a specific thing, but I think, in the nature of the beast is that I didn't always feel confident in what I was doing in this process that we're talking about. There's been like many, many times where I've second guessed myself and what I'm doing. And I guess, it all is for a reason, because I've gained, inspiration from that. But, if I could go back, I would sort of, every time I felt self-doubt or I felt, unsure of myself, and I was reading those comments and really taking them in, I would say, like, dude, like, screw those people,
Right.
do what you know is real and what you need to do, and you may have ups and downs and good shows and bad shows, but at least at the end of the day that you're not a liar, that you never faked it. You know
Wow.
what I mean?
Hmm. How difficult, by the way, was it rebranding yourself, and how did you manage to do it successfully?
I don't know if I'm if I'm really like I didn't do it I didn't do it with a publicist or a manager or someone being like, this is how you're holding my hand, this is how you're gonna do it. I just did it, and I've been picking up the pieces ever since. And it's just taken time for people to like come to it and not to, but again, it just is what it is.
Wow.
So
Before we wrap up, Matisyahu, can you give our audience a quick vocal, maybe something they haven't heard?
what do you mean?
Anything that comes, just sing something.
Well, no, I mean, I don't really want to sing, but I will plug my new song, which is called Love Born.
Love Born?
And the lyric there is Love Born. Check it out on, go to Facebook,
how does it go?
Matisyahu, Instagram, Matisyahu. Check out the new song and the new video single. There's 2 new songs that I released this summer. One is called Storm Tossed,
Okay.
and one of them is called Love Born. And I think that they're really great
Can you give
songs.
us
The fans have
Can you
really
give us
connected.
a teaser for one of those?
No, I don't do that. Sorry.
Really? Seriously? Oh man. Okay.
No,
fine.
no, man. I gotta watch my voice. I'm a professional. I gotta sing tonight. I've been talking and doing interviews for the last 8 hours straight.
Whoa.
I'm not trying to like strain my voice right now. I'm
No
standing
problem.
outside. There's trucks going by.
When is your next live event, by the way?
Tonight, I'm playing a free show
No
in
way.
Bend, Oregon, and then I'm playing. I was just in the park. I was like by the swings with my daughter, and I was swinging her, and someone came over, and they were like, "We're fans, and they were like, "Are you playing while you're here?" I'm like, "Nah." And there's this farmer's market, and I used to go hang out there in the park when I was like 17 years old, and they're like, like, you should play, and I was like, oh, all right, we'll see. And the dude called like the owner of the bar there, and like they were like within minutes, they were like, okay, so now there's this Matisyahu show at 6 o'clock in the same park that I used to go when I was like barefoot, when I was like 17, and hang out and have big dreams of being a musician. So it's kind of cool. I like that kind of thing. It's like full circle. Love Born from Pain is the real thing. And,
Very cool.
that's the story. Outside of that, go on the website for the dates. I got shows coming up,
Okay.
everywhere. I'll be in Alaska this weekend. I'll be in Jerusalem October 13th.
Yeah, my wife wants to go to that concert, but I don't think there's any more tickets.
There's plenty
Yeah?
of tickets. I don't know who told you there's no tickets. There's tons of tickets.
Yeah?
Please buy a ticket, support Matisyahu and his kids,
Cool.
and bring your wife. Make a night out of it.
I'll be there, Matisyahu, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, cool. Matisyahu, this has been incredibly inspiring. It's been great getting to know you better. Thanks so much for letting me pick your brain. Thank you to all my fellow brain pickers. I'm looking forward to the day when I'll be picking your brain.
You've been listening to the Can I Pick Your Brain podcast. Inspiration without perspiration is like a tiger without teeth. So, to put these ideas into action, head over to danielgeffen.com.